There we go. Excellent. Let's go over there. All right, let's see if our chat will pop in. I need to get my coffee too. Come on, chat. There it is. There's the chat. Hey, I see the chat. Whee! I can see the chat. I don't see anybody in the chat. Makes me question my purpose in life. Hello? Is this working? Like tap the YouTube interface, tap OBS. Oh, are you kidding me? Frame rates are bad. Well, that's not good. I haven't dropped any frames, but it doesn't look pretty. What does this say here? It says I have an excellent connection. It does say I have an excellent connection in YouTube. OBS is not super green, but I haven't dropped any frames, so I suppose that's okay. Yeah. All right. Squeaky, are you gonna come up here? You're down there pawing at me. Come on. Come on, get up here. That's right, I'm gonna talk to them and I'm gonna ignore you if you don't get up here. There you go, good job. You gotta come join me for this. Oh no, I'm going green in OBS again. No, that's weird. All right, let's rock and roll. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live stream. Tonight we are going to be talking, I have a few topics actually I want to talk about. We're going to be talking about the 2024 Monster Manual. We're going to be looking at, there's some stuff I really like about it, and there's some stuff that I don't like so much. We're just going to kind of talk about that stuff. We're going to deep dive into the lore, the lore changes, the lore removal. I don't know how you want to exactly phrase it, but we're going to talk about that tonight. So it'll be kind of fun. And then I want to talk about, so there is a YouTuber called Bonus Action, and he put out a I'm quitting video, I'm quasi quitting, you'll see less of me video, and I literally just kind of want to watch that and give my reaction because he says some really good stuff in that video. And I watched it and I was just like, this dude is spot on, holy crap. And he was saying some of the stuff that I think very few other YouTubers probably had the courage to say. And I was like, this dude's awesome. So, and I'd been watching some of his videos for a while too, because he has some really good thumbnails and some of his videos really popped off. So anyway, I want to watch his I'm quasi quitting video, and I'm going to give my reaction to it. And we're going to talk about some stuff on there because I thought that he made some really good observations, and I want to kind of give my 2 cents on it because that's about all I have is 2 cents. And once we run out of my cents, then, then we're broke. So, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about, what was it? Oh yes, I have a story to tell you. I have a cool story to tell you from one of the very first D&D 2024 games that I played in, and what happened to my character. I thought it was really cool. So we're gonna those are the three things on our list for today that we're gonna be going over in that order as well. So there you go. I gotta go get my coffee here. Squeaky's probably gonna stream for me while I do that. But before I do that, I do want to let everybody know that we do have a giveaway going on today. There is a link in the chat. Hopefully, you can't bump my camera setup today, dude. Man, I have this special camera setup because I'm gonna be showing the book, the Monster Manual, and so I have everything kind of all special. And he's whacking his big fat butt in it. It's not hard to fix it. I just swivel it back. But he's a big turd. Giveaway going on. Hopefully we can get a link in the chat. We're giving away $50 DM Lair store credit, which is you gotta let me stream. You gotta let me stream, buddy. $50 DM Lair. He's really worked up today. He is rubbing against everything. What is up, Squeaky? We'll draw the winner to the giveaway at the end of the live stream. It's free to enter. You just click some links and you click a link and type in some junk and then press it. It's easy. Just go do it. We'll draw the winner at the end. You'll get $50 DM Lair store credit. And it's a good time to get DM Lair store credit because we literally have a sale going on right now. It's our Valentine's Day sale. Oh, love is in the air. Actually, you can get 25 to 50% off everything on our store from now until next Friday. But you should just go do it now before you forget. Dude, you gotta calm down. You gotta let me do my stream tonight. I'm gonna rough you up. So basically, if you just go over to our site, thedmlayer.com, you're gonna see across the top, there's a big red banner. It literally gives you the 2 discount codes that you enter. Just add crap to your cart, enter those 2 discount codes, and then you're going to get 25 to 50% off applied to the various products in your cart. So it's really easy. Just go over there. We have now some of the things that we have you might be interested in. We have this ultimate collection. You can literally get every single book that we publish, the hardcovers, and we ship all over the world too, by the way. You can get every single book we've published, and it's normally $150. You can get 25% off from that sucker, and that's gonna bring it down to like, I don't know, cheaper than that. I'm not gonna do math live on the stream. So, and then obviously we got Secret Art of Game Mastery, Layers and Legends. We have Into the Fae, all of that kind of good stuff up here. So go over here, get some stuff for heavy discount, and enjoy. So there you go. That's going on now until next Friday, our Valentine sale. So, you know, if you're gonna like if you need to like get something for that special someone, you know, you can go get a D&D book for them. And if it just so happens that special someone doesn't play D&D or need any game mastering stuff, well, then you get to keep it, right? Like, if they don't want it, like, you have to keep it for yourself. So it's just, I mean, sometimes life sucks and that's the way it works, you know? So there you go. You can justify your actions that way if that makes you feel better. My cat is pushing everything around on my screen today. I gotta like readjust everything. He's really worked up. Squeaky's gotta calm down, man. Oh, my cup's empty. All right. I gotta go fill this up. I'll be back in a second. I have a feeling that if Squeaky keeps up like this, he's gonna get put off the desk because he's impeding my ability to stream. He won't just sit quietly somewhere. He's like prowling back and forth, rubbing against everything. And that's gonna cause a problem tonight. Usually he just sits here and is chill, but today he is worked up. Hector says, can I have some of that beer? This is coffee. Let me stream. I will prove to you it's coffee. I literally have a special camera set up that points down at the book. You see that? That is either a super dark brew or that's coffee. It's coffee. If you gotta let me use my hands, cat. Oh my goodness. He's gonna get put down off this desk, and then he's gonna be crying at me and pawing at me. It's soda? No, this is coffee, dude. It's coffee, man. Do you see like the bubbly fervescence or whatever that crap is? No, it's coffee. Why would I lie to you? If I were drinking pop, why would I tell you it's coffee? And if it were beer, why would I tell you that it's like coffee? Like, I have no motivation to lie to you. I've always had a reputation for telling you what I really think and the truth, and it's gotten me in trouble on many occasions. So like, why would I lie now about what's in my cup? You're all just trolling me. You're just trying to get me worked up. Now this is what I need right here. I need him to lie down. Just calm down. You just keep that big fluffy belly right there, and we're gonna be happy. It's gonna be a happy day. Yeah. Jeez. You got your monster book yesterday? What monster book is that? Luke talking to a screen means the cat strike is coming. Maybe, but the cats don't come down here anymore. Ever since I got a dog, cats don't do the whole like converging upon the stream like they used to. That dog is down here. They got out of that habit pretty quickly. Hey Rachel, how you doing? Forever spooky music? Is there spooky music going on? All right. let's look at this then. So essentially what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the 2024 Monster Manual. We're going to talk about, specifically, I want to talk about a few of the things that I really like about it, things I think they did really well. And then we're going to talk about, it seems like a lot of the reception for the Monster Manual has been fairly positive. But there's one thing that people tend to be talking about, making comments about, that isn't being well received, and that's the lore. Now, what I've noticed, it hasn't necessarily been that there have been changes to the lore so much as they have not included that much lore. There's certain monster entries where the lore is super sparse. There's missing lore. It's just not there. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to deep dive into that. We're going to look at some of the examples of missing lore. My cat is lying on the book right now. He'll have to move. We're going to look at some of the examples of missing lore. We're going to talk about why the lore isn't there. Why do I believe they took the lore out and just don't have it there? And what a game master can do now, like with when there's not lore on a monster and you don't know what to do with that. So that's what we're going to talk about. The first thing I want to look at is we're going to pull the book up and we're going to kind of go through it. And I want to look at some of the things. First, I want to talk about the things I like about it, things I think they did well. I don't want to just publish like a complete hit piece where I'm just like, you all suck and everything in this book sucks, because I don't think that's true. So I do want to touch on the things I think they did well. And then we'll get into the lore, which I think was a big miss on their part. So let's change our camera over there to see my cat is like lying on my book, which isn't going to work, obviously. All right, you got to get off the book. It's not going to work with a big fat cat on the book. Although some people will probably like looking at the cat on the book. So I have some little bookmarks here, things I wanted to kind of look at. And what I mean by sparse lore is, this is an example, the Azir, I think you might pronounce it. If you look at the Azir, this is the lore we have. We literally have 3 sentences of lore. It just tells you that they're living bronze folk on the primal elements of creation. Okay, it's like, and then there's like two specific types of Azir. That's all we got. That's the lore that we have for Azir. It's super sparse. I want to talk a little bit about dragons too, but I'm going to skip over that for now. We're going to come back to that in a second. The Blink Dog, and I'm literally just flipping through from beginning. You know, I'm in the bees, and the Blink Dog has 2 sentences of lore on the Blink Dog. And then the Horned Devil, I think, is my next one. Horned Devil, okay? Iconic creature. This is it. This is all the lore that we have right here, right? And then the Purple Worm. The Purple Worm has this much lore. So the lore has just been like gutted out of here. You can't come over here right now. I'm looking through a book. But there's a lot of stuff I liked about it. Like, you may have noticed this, but the artwork is outstanding. I think they did, the artwork is hands down better than 2014. And I think that's true in the player handbook. I don't recall from the Dungeon Master Guide, but overall the artwork has been way, way, way better. Like the Horned Devil artwork, when you flip through, the artwork is much more evocative. It's better done. It's more highly rendered. There are more details and stuff. So I think they did a really good job on the artwork. I think that is amazing. And then the other thing they added is they added charts to some of these creatures as well. So not all of them, but this is an example. Gelatinous Cube. So here's a chart that lists the different types of debris that you can find in a gelatinous cube. This one talks about gargoyle sculptures and what the sculpture might appear to look like. And so not every creature has this, but some of them have them. Some flumps. A flump, these are different ways a flump might assist you. Fomorian warping. So Fomorians are like warped and diseased or something giants, basically, unless they change the lore on us. And it talks about different types of curses or hexes or ways they might be warped and stuff. So they did add these charts, which I think is cool. I think that's a good addition that gives us a little bit more stuff to use in our games. So I do appreciate that. I also like some of the changes to the stat blocks. I really like, and I don't know if I have a super great example offhand, but one of the things, and this is especially true for It's for weapon attacks. When you have a weapon attack that does damage from the weapon, but it also applies a secondary effect like a poison, you no longer have to make players no longer make a saving throw for the poison. They don't make a saving throw for the secondary effect. If the weapon attack hits, the secondary effect is automatically applied. And I think that is amazing. As a game master, I love that change. I love that change for two reasons. First of all, it makes the gameplay go a whole lot faster. When you don't have to like hit and then you ask the player, you're like, hey player, I need a constitution saving throw. And then they're like finding their dice and they're rolling it and they're looking at their character sheet to see what modifier they add. And then they add the modifier and they give you the result. And it takes some time. The other thing that also a lot of times happens is that the secondary effect saving throws are usually so low that players make the saves almost all the time, and almost all of them are save or suck. So if you make the save, nothing happens. And so that essentially makes it almost like a pointless part to pointless. You can't come over here right now. I told you. It makes it almost pointless to have in the game. So I really, really like how they just removed that secondary effect saving throw. And if the attack hits, it hits. And I don't have like a handy example to show you from the book, but if you have the book, you know, like they're all over. They've done that stuff. And other things I liked about it too is the spell casting. Here's actually an example of the spell casting. I happen to be on the druid. The spell casting is now, they don't tell you like how many slots you have. They're just telling you, you know, you have this is at will, this is 2 times per day, this is 1 time per day. And they did this in some of the books that came before these new releases as well. They started to do this sort of thing in, I think, Monsters of the Multiverse. They started to make some of these changes. So this isn't necessarily new, this particular one, but I do like it. I do think it's a preferred way of doing it. So they did make some changes that I think are nice, and I do like them. So I want to be clear about that. I don't want to just totally like destroy the whole book and say it sucks completely, because I don't think that's true at all. I think that they made a misstep with the lore. I think that is the big issue that we have here. And now I want to go look at some more of the examples of that in particular. So I've already basically shown you some of the pages of the lore where they just kind of pulled out a whole bunch of stuff. And I think the Horned Devil, I think, is a great example of that. You know, this is a devil. It is one of the iconic creatures, in my opinion. Demons, devils, and dragons, beholders, and things like that are some of the iconic creatures in Dungeons and Dragons. And you just gank the lore out of there. But one of the other things that you notice, and devils, it applies to devils too. Devils are a group of creatures. So you have a whole bunch of different types of devils. And it used to be that, like, if I would go to the 2024 book, for instance, by the way, before I'll come back to that in a second, but I did just want to show you really quickly. This is the Purple Worm lore from 2024. We have one sentence. One sentence. Oh, I'm sorry. 2 sentences. My bad. 2 sentences of lore on the Purple Worm. 2014, you have all of this lore on the Purple Worm. Look at this. There is a marked difference between the amount of lore. And so what's going on? The stat block, well, I'll tell you what, the type is bigger. If you put these side by side, the print, the font size is bigger in 2024. So that's going to take up more space. They even have, 2014 version even has a basically empty space here that's not even being used. You know, and they still have tons of lore. So what they did is, like, you can see they prioritized the artwork. In this case, they prioritized the artwork. And so when you have a big stat block with larger print that takes up an entire column, and then a little throwaway quote from Mordecun de Condark, you know, you have a throwaway quote here, and then and you have a nice artwork, and the artwork is beautiful. You want to show this off. Well, the result is you have, like, this is the space. You can't come over here. I told you. You gotta co-stream from my shoulder right there. Co-stream from that side of the desk. You're not coming over here. This is the rule. He's like, screw your rule. He's like, screw your rule, Luke. You can't come over here, you big baby. You're gonna lie on my book. I told you. No. He doesn't. He's like the most uncooperative co-streamer. So, but you see what I'm saying? Marked difference in lore, how much you actually get. Not for every single one, right? But there are enough of them that you can find lots of examples of this. I'm gonna fight with this cat the whole stream. You guys are all gonna enjoy it because you're just gonna like laugh at me. Luke's just fighting with his cat the whole time. I'm like elbowing him in the face, and he's like, "No, I don't care. I'm gonna come over there." All right. So what I was talking about before, seriously, cat, you gotta stop, man. Hey, what's up, Trinda? How you doing? So what I was talking about before I went on the purple worm rant is that the devils. So you used to have groups of creatures like devils, and there would be. So if you go to like the 2014 version, and you go to the devils section, let's see if I can find. Well, I mean, the drow is probably a good example too. Like the drow, the dark elves, like they have this entire block, you know, that gives you lore about dark elves. Now we know that they took dark elves and orcs and other humanoids out of the monster manual, so you're not going to find anything about drow in the 2024 monster manual. But groups of creatures got big, massive amounts of lore for in 2014. So if we go back to the devils, for instance, dragons are an example of it. So if we go to the very beginning of the dragons section, I don't have handy bookmarks for this. They have right here, we start talking about dragons, different things about dragons, their age categories, chromatic dragons, just high level information about chromatic dragons. And then if you go to, and then devils is the same thing. Like, only the devils is really close here. And I'll just flip to it. Okay, we get this whole page of stuff about devils. Look at all of this lore about devils. And this is just devils in general. It's talking about the arc devils, the greater devils, the lesser devils. It talks about the 9 hells, lore, big, massive amounts of lore. This is 2014 version, right? And then when you go to the 2024 version, well, the first thing you notice is the monsters are no longer grouped together. So if I'm running an adventure with devils in it, I can no longer just go to one part of the monster manual and find all the devils and then pick the ones that I want to use. I now have to ferret them out of this book and find out where all the devils are and flip from beginning to end of the book to find all the devils I want to use. I do not prefer that method. I like having groups of monsters like dragons or devils or demons or Yugoloths. I like having them grouped together. I don't like splitting them all across the book. I think that it is a undesirable user experience, at least from my point of view as a user. I'm gonna keep elbowing you in the face, cat. You can't get on top of me today. Man, I gotta show the book and you're gonna like sit on it. You're gonna put your fat butt on it. Watch what he's gonna do. This is what he was gonna do. He's gonna come over here and he's gonna, okay, you're gonna go in the corner? Are you gonna stay in the corner over there? Okay, if you stay in the corner, I'll let you stay. All right, he might behave. All right, so, but instead of having a whole bunch of lore about devils, it's not here. It's not here. I have this little bit about horned devils, but I could not find a high level thing about like devils in general, you know, and maybe I missed it. Let's see. Let's just go to the index and see if that helps us at all. I don't know that there is like a big group description of devils. This index isn't actually an index. Where's the actual index that tells me what pages the monsters are on? I don't think they have one. They don't have an index. Oh gosh, I didn't notice this before. I would have prepared this rant more thoroughly. But now I guess you get an unprepared rant about how there's no index. There's no So one of the I understand the monsters are alphabetical. I get it. But still, having an index at the back where you can just really quickly find what you want and flip to it is really nice. Like this is the 2014. They have an index. They tell me what pages the creatures are on. And it's super useful. It's 2 pages. Why wouldn't you include that? I don't know why you wouldn't include that. So I can't tell you if there's actual lore about devils in general in this book because there's no index that helps me even find. Maybe there's a table of contents. Hold on. Oh! They put the index in the beginning of the book. Who would have thunk it? So the index is in the beginning of the book. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't have thought to look there. I was looking, I mean, I'd expect a table of contents, which I guess a table of contents is kind of the same as an index in this particular case, but it's at the beginning of the book. We can all put our torches and we can douse our torches and put away our pitchforks, I suppose. There you go. Okay. So, is there anything about, can I find anything about devils? I don't think there's anything. 381. It says, no, that's just listings of monsters by group. No, I don't think that there's any high level thing on devils in here. I think they just got rid of the lore. Like, instead of having a big bunch of lore about devils, I think it's just gone. I think it's totally gone. And now some of it, to be fair, some of this like big group lore is about specific devils. And you can now find at least some of that with the individual entries for the devils in the new monster manual. But a lot of this general lore, yanked out, it's gone. It's no longer in there. So that's been removed. And the issue is, I mean, the problem that I have with removing lore like that is that I use that for inspiration. Not only do I use it for inspiration, not only does it get me excited about using certain creatures when not, and if I don't have the lore, it doesn't get me as excited and ramped up. But also it's like, if I'm going to integrate this creature into my campaign, that lore helps me do that. It helps me decide, oh, where do these creatures live? How might I use them? It just gives that flavor, that background that helps me as a game master put that creature into my campaign. And if I don't have the lore, I can't do that. So if you give me a purple worm and the lore is like 2 sentences, it's like, okay, I have a big purple worm that kills people, I guess. And so it's like, that doesn't really help me as much as if I had a good chunk of lore, some background information that's going to help me know how to roleplay the creature, how I might use it in my campaign, and just give me inspiration and ideas and stuff. So I do think it's unfortunate that the lore has been removed like that. But it is what it is. But that's kind of what we're looking at. A lore has just been kind of ganked out. Not all of it, and some of the entries have a good amount of lore, but it is very notable that there are quite a few of them where it's just been like pulled out. And I think that's unfortunate. And I think that does a disservice to game masters who are running the game. Okay, so next question is, why is the lore missing? Why isn't it there? And I have 5 different reasons that just spinning things over in my brain that I think that the lore might have been pulled out and why it might not be there. Okay, and now is where you're in the way again. I know that's your usual spot, but you're gonna have to find a new spot for today. We should have had this discussion before the stream began. That way he and I would be on the same page. But he's not having it. I'm just gonna. Okay, so why do I think the lore is missing? First of all, the first thing that you have going on, I can't do this, cat. You gotta give me some space. Usually I just sit here, but today I actually have to do stuff, you know, and so he's being really annoying. All right, layout. Layout, I think, is probably the primary reason that lore has been gone. So let's go back to the purple worm. Oh, actually, here's the devil. This is a great example. So if I'm the layout director, right, and you give me this piece of artwork that spans an entire column, and it's great artwork, it's amazing. I'm like, okay, I got an entire column of artwork. I love it, obviously. And then I have a big stat block, right? I have this big, huge stat block. Well, then guess what? This is the amount of retail, the real estate I have to work with for lore. I have this much space for lore. And so if I'm doing layout, like I 100% guarantee you that they probably had more lore than that for the Horn of Devil. But when they went to layout, they had to trim it and get rid of it because they didn't have room for it. I publish books, we do the same thing. We have to consider the space on the page. And when you're going to layout, sometimes you have a bunch of empty space and we have to go back to the writers, or Zach, the guy who works for me, will just write something to fill that space. Or we have too much stuff there and we have to trim stuff out and cut it out so that layout will fit properly. And so this is the thing you consider when you're making books, is the layout. So if I got a bunch of artwork, I got stat block, I don't have much room here. I just don't have a lot of room. And these stat blocks are very limiting too. Having square stat blocks limits your layout possibilities and how you do layout. This is a huge confining factor. If you look at other publications, if you look at Cobalt Press does it this way, if you look at how Paizo does it, they do something called liquid layout. And liquid layout does not confine you to these big clunky stat blocks. And that'll give you a lot of freedom in how you use your stuff and how you use your space. And it doesn't lock you into having to have Horn Devil on one page and that's it. Hydra on one page and that's it. Imp, one page, that's it. Look at all this white space. Tons of empty space here, tons of empty space. Imagine if they could have had liquid layout where this they didn't have these clunky stat blocks and this flowed over here and then this flowed a little bit and then you had more room over here for the Horned Devil. You could have done that, but they've really locked themselves into a layout and design. They've backed themselves into a corner in a certain way because they've decided to keep on using these big clunky stat blocks. Many publishers are getting away from these clunky stat blocks. It makes layout way easier and it makes layout look better too, in my opinion. And it gives you more freedom on some of these things and you're not as confined. Let me show you what liquid layout looks like. I'm gonna get a book really quick. I'll be right back. Okay, this is Pathfinder 2. This is their bestiary. And this is an example of liquid layout. They're not confined to stat blocks. Things just flow. Now, they do still generally have one monster per page, but they have a whole lot more real estate to work with. They don't have these stat blocks. See how the stat block, or well, the text can wrap around here, and it wraps around the artwork, and they have these little sidebars where they can put lore and different things. Here's an example where you have a couple things on one page, and it just kind of flows. And then here's a good example. Cyclops right here. This stat block, let's say this mechanical text didn't fit all on this one page, so it flowed to the top of the next page. Not a problem. It's still perfectly usable. As long as it doesn't span a spread and go on to the next spread, and you have to flip pages back and forth. As long as it's all contained on one spread, perfectly usable. Not a concern. Not a problem. And there are lots of publishers do it this way. Like I said, Cobalt Press does it this way. Paizo does it this way. And it's very elegant. It works very, very well. Here you have deep gnomes, and then here are the stat blocks, and it just flows from one page to the next, and it's very, very elegant. It works very well. This is liquid layout, but Wizards of the Coast doesn't use this. And because they don't use that, it locks them into these big clunky stat blocks, which really confines their layout in a certain way. Now it looks nice. I think the big clunky stat blocks make it look nice and the layout looks very beautiful, but it really, it confines you to real estate. Here's some empty space up here, like lore could have been put here or something, And so, but anyway, my point is that when you're publishing a book, layout is a huge consideration, and that is one of the reasons we don't have lore on many of these things. And it's the same thing for the Purple Worm's another great example. If I have this big piece of artwork that looks beautiful and I want this, and I have a massive stat block, I just don't have much room for lore, and so this is what you get, And then obviously somebody wanted a throwaway quote up here because they thought it looked cool, but it doesn't actually do anything for you. But that's one of the reasons, layout. Oh, Gladclear brings up a very good point. We do liquid layout too. Let me show you. So this is from our publication. I forgot to mention our own publication. So this is Loot and Lore 2. This book right here is going out to backers within a few weeks. I mean, we're planning to begin fulfillment in March. So backers are going to be getting Loot and Lore 2 and Layers and Legends 2 very soon. But we use liquid layout in our books too. And just another example, so it's just, it all just kind of flows and you don't have the clunky stat blocks, artwork, and everything just kind of flows. Here, the Tooth Fairy has a big amount of mechanical stuff for him, or her or whatever. And it just flows from one column to the next, and that's true right here, the white, you know, we just kind of, it flows around it. And you're able, we have other resources besides monsters. This looks like we're into puzzles or something in here. But our monsters, that's what we do. It's liquid layout. It's all liquid layout. And it makes layout easier. It makes you're able to put lore and all that kind of stuff, and you have more room and stuff in your book, you know? So, but yeah, thank you, Zach, for reminding me that we do the same thing in our books for good reason. Well, thank you, Charlie. Charlie said that he's backed a few things from us, and it's fantastic work, art, and quality. Thank you. I appreciate that, dude. Okay, so next. The other reason I think that another reason I think a lot of the lore is missing is that they seem to have prioritized quantity over quality in certain regards. If you look at the marketing for the Monster Manual, the marketing wasn't focused around, you know, monsters that will inspire you, monsters that make you want to play the game, or like, look at this amazing artwork and stuff. What was the marketing focused around? As far as I know, the message I kept on hearing from the marketing for Monster Manual 2024 was over 500 monsters, right? It's our biggest monster manual ever. It was about how many monsters they've packed into this book. And that was most of the marketing message, right? The biggest monster manual ever. That's all the messaging I saw about it. And the thing is that you have a limit to how thick and big your book is going to be. I mean, the list price on this is $50. So there's only so much you can put in this book. And this book is already, feels like it's almost 400 pages long. So there's only so much real estate you have in a book. So if you've decided that your marketing message is going to be our biggest monster manual ever, and you're going to put over 500 monsters, I think 500 monsters, over 500 monsters, I think that was the number. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it was. And if you're going to put that many monsters in here, you only got so much real estate. So that means you have to choose how you're going to spend the pages, right? You can't produce a 1,000-page book. So you got to pick and choose. Are you going to fill a bunch of lore in there? Are you going to have bunches of artwork and stuff in there? I mean, there's a certain amount of artwork you have to have. Generally speaking, each type of monster needs at least one piece of artwork. If it doesn't, then it'll feel like it's lacking something. So you have to have a certain amount of artwork. You have to have the stat blocks. And so at that point, it's like, what are you going to cut to make sure your book isn't too long? It's going to be lore, right? And so I think the fact that they're trying to hit the quantity of 500 creatures and really make that a big selling point, I think is another reason that lore was cut out, because you just can't have, I don't know, 500, 600 pages in a book. So I think that's another reason too that we don't see a bunch of lore, is they had to make that trade-off of like packing as many monster stat blocks into that book as they possibly could. Yes, there's a litter box. There's a litter box right there. Sometimes on a stream, you're going to be able to watch a cat go in and then come back out. They get special blue light when they go. Okay, the other thing that I think impacted their ability to put lore into the book was probably just time. Look at their development time. We know that the OGL scandal that they invoked upon themselves set them back for probably 6 months. I mean, I imagine it caused a bit of a stir and lost productivity in the offices, and a lot of the team had to react to all that crap that was going on and stuff. So I think that set them back in their development timeline. And I think too that if you look at what all the changes were, most of the revamping was done in the player handbook. So I think the development time that they did have, I think they really prioritized the player handbook and spent a lot of their time, you know, with the classes and subclasses and feats and all those different player options. So I think they spent a lot of their time there. And so when it came to the Dungeon Master Guide or the Monster Manual, I think that they didn't have as much time in their development life cycle to spend on those things. And so they didn't. And so they just couldn't create the amount of lore that they may have wanted to put into the book, right? If you didn't have the other constraints, such as layout and page limit and stuff. So I think they were probably constrained by time as well. There's only so much time and only so much things you can do at the time that you have. The last two things that I want to talk about why the lore might be missing is beginning to go into the conspiracy theory territory. And I don't necessarily think I believe these things, but I want to put them out there because I think it's worth mentioning, just to be thorough, let us say. But just be aware, grain of salt, this is a little bit conspiracy theory stuff, and Luke doesn't necessarily believe these things, but for the sake of thoroughness, we're going to talk about them. All right, the first thing, why not put a bunch of lore into your books? Why don't you have lore on the dragons? Why don't you have lore on the devils and the demons? Why don't you have robust lore on giants like there was in the 2024 book or 2014 book? So why wouldn't you have robust lore? Well, let us pretend that you are a publishing company. Let us pretend that you make money selling books. Let us pretend then, if you were to put everything in one book and people buy that book, they never need the next book. However, if you withhold things from the book and don't put it in there, such as lore about iconic creatures such as dragons and devils and demons and beholders and all that kind of cool stuff, if you don't put it in there, well, you could come along a year from now and release the giant book of dragons. It contains all of the lore. Fizban's Book of Dragons kind of did that to a certain extent, had a whole, it really worked up the lore to a great extent, you know? And it was Fizban's something, I can't remember the exact title of the book. I have it on my shelf over there. I looked at it, it's got some cool stuff in it, but, or you can have the giant Book of Giants that has giant lore, or Devils and Demons, an entire book that just focuses on devils and demons. It has lore in roughly half of it, and then the other half has expanded stat blocks, tons of stat blocks for new devils and demons and stuff. So if you were a publishing company that needed to publish products that sell and make you money, if you were to withhold some stuff from prior products and then plan to release it in other books, I mean, that's a way that you could just, you know, have more books scheduled to be released. But again, that's just kind of conspiracy theory stuff. I don't think they're necessarily doing that. But who knows? We'll see what kind of stuff they release, you know. But that's another reason the lore may have been withheld, but I don't really buy that a whole lot. It's just an idea. And the other conspiracy theory, I suppose, is if you think about some of the things that Wizards of the Coast has gotten in trouble about over the last several years or so, there have been a couple, at least a couple that had to do with lore. What was it? It was like there was a, what was the monk? There was like a monkey species or something that they got into trouble about because there were like racist undertones or something that people were taking out of it, or that was like in there. I forget the name of it. What people are saying it in chat. Hazity. Okay, yeah. So they get in trouble over things like that, and that was just lore. It was lore. They get in trouble over that, and so now their official response. What was their official response, and why the Hazity had that stuff in there? Because my understanding is that when they released the playtest stuff to people, that lore wasn't like that. It was a different lore. But when the official product came out, they had changed it to the undesirable lore that was construed or interpreted or seen as racist or whatever, you know? And so they changed it like in the 9th hour or 11th hour and stuff, and then it came out and was a problem. And so can you imagine then if you are under the gun, you are on a death march, you got to get these books out. It's the 50th anniversary. And like, if you publish 2 books in 2025, can you really call it D&D 2024? No. You got to pump these books out. You got to get them done. One of them still came out the year after the 50th anniversary, right? And so if you're under the crunch and you're just got to do this stuff really fast, there is a chance that you might let some stuff slip into the lore that's going to get you in trouble again, you know? So you don't want to be careless. You have to be careful with that. But you don't have time to be careful because you got to publish these books. You got to get these things to press. You got to get the layout. You got to get this stuff done. And so the safer bet is, look, if we're under the timeline, the gun, it's safer for us to not put lore in there if we can't thoroughly vet it and have all of our checkers check it, it's safer for us to not put it in there than to rush and throw something in that might get us in trouble. And so that's the other thought, is by not putting some lore in some places, they might be avoiding controversy. I don't, again, this is conspiracy theory stuff. I don't necessarily think I believe that. But it's an idea, it's a thought. It's, you know, for the sake of thoroughness, I'll give it to you, and you can, you know, have a war in the comments about it or not. But that's another reason, potentially, maybe, probably not though, that lore wasn't included. I really think, layout and the focus on quantity over quality are, and probably a little bit development time, are probably the main reasons we just don't have lore in there. I mean, the other reason is just nefarious intent of like, aha, we're not gonna give you lore, screw you. I don't think they did that. That's just silly at that point. I think they had legitimate business reasons for not putting lore in there, you know? And so that's why the lore is missing. And I guess the question now is, what do you do? So we don't have the lore that we had before, so are we just dead in the water? And obviously none of us think that. We all know that there are ways to get around this and stuff. Obviously, I was literally showing you comparisons from the 2024 Monster Manual that has tons of lore in it. You can use this. You can just use the lore in this. A lot of us already have this anyway, so just keep using this. It's a very simple, elegant solution. Many of us have books like Volo's Guide to Monsters or Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes that is packed full of lore. Those two books are stellar. I'm not a fan of the Monsters in the Multiverse horse crap, but Volo's Guide to Monsters and Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, just packed with lore. Those are great books, lots of lore in there, lots of good stuff in there. So, and then, you know, and you can also just use lore from other sources. Like, who says that your lore has to come from the official D&D multiverse? Why couldn't your lore come from Middle Earth? Or, you know, the Wheel of Time series, or Brandon Sanderson's books or something? Like, you know, you can pull your lore from anywhere. You are not confined to, like, what they give you here. This can just be a starting point, and you can discard it and throw it away or do whatever you want as much as you want. And you can always just create your own lore. You know, you don't like what they say about like devils in here? Well, then make your own lore for devils and what they represent. Or the purple worm, you know, it's like there's nothing in here, so like make up your own stuff. And I think that's probably, it's unfortunate, and those solutions aren't super satisfying, especially when we kind of feel, you know, that like they should have just given us something. You know, they should have given us more for some of these creatures. And it's not all the creatures. Like I was looking through here. There's a good amount of lore for a lot of these creatures. It's just there are some of them where it's just like, what happened? There's like nothing here. And I think that it just feels kind of like, you know, like it could have been done better. So, but there are solutions to it. It's not the end of the world, but it is a criticism, you know, something that could have been done better. But like I said, I love the artwork. I think the new artwork is hands down better than the artwork in 2014 version. I think the charts they put in there for the creatures is really cool. And I like the stat blocks. I like some of the changes to the stat blocks. So overall, I think my reception is fairly positive of the 2024 Monster Manual. I just think that, you know, the lore, they could have done a better job there. But, you know, in all honesty, that is the way it is with almost any single book. Like, I look at our publications and I know that there are some things that we could have done better in ours. And I know what they are, and I know why we weren't able to do it. And I think that's the trade-off that almost any publisher is going to have to make. There are going to be you're never going to have a perfect book. There are going to be some things that just aren't the way they could have been, or maybe you would have liked them to been, but you have to make trade-offs, because at the end of the day, done is better than perfect. You could, if you sit there in a development life cycle of 10 years to try to get a perfect book, first of all, you're never going to get it. And second of all, it's never out in the world and nobody can ever benefit from it. It's just sitting in your development life cycle, not making you money, while you still have to pay all of your developers. So at the end of the day, you got to get a book out the door. And done is better than perfect. And if you can do a pretty darn good job, and then there are a few things that somebody like me is going to nitpick you about, you probably did a decent job, you know. If it's not a complete failure and we're like ripping you up and down about everything in here that you screwed up, you did a good job. You can never get a perfect book. And so I think that's my wrap up of that. And don't forget, we have a Valentine's sale going on right now on the DM Lair store. So you can go over there and get 25 to 50% off everything we have on the store. If you go over there, there's a link in the chat. There's a link down in the description. There are 2 codes. There's a big red banner at the top of the screen. It gives you 2 codes. All you got to do is pick the products you want, add them to your cart, enter those 2 codes, and a discount between 25 and 50% will be added to all the different products you have in your cart. Now, we have really cool stuff like the DM Lair Ultimate Collection. It has every single book we've ever published, and it's usually the retail is $215. We usually charge $150 for it. If you get 25% off from this, I don't know, do the math. You're gonna save, how much money is that? Like $35 or something. You're gonna get it for a bunch less. And then we have Secret Art of Game Mastery, Layers and Legends. We got everything over here. Just go over here, check it out. This Valentine's sale, which like, I don't know why we call it. I mean, Valentine's Day is tomorrow, so it's like the Valentine's sale. But it's gonna last until next Friday, so hop in there, grab some cool stuff, and you know, you can always give this to your special someone. Give it to your special someone, and if they don't play D&D, you get to keep it for yourself. And I think that's really a win for you. And I think that can help you justify the expenditure. You know, it's like, well, I was gonna get this for my girlfriend, and she doesn't like D&D. She's into Pathfinder 2, so I'll just keep them myself. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with justifying it that way. You know, if it helps you sleep at night, it's all good. And you do want to enter both codes. We add this to your cart and then enter both codes, and then it'll apply discounts to the different products automatically. So make sure you put both codes in. All right, there we go. My cat is protesting, wants to come back up. Come on, get up here. Come on. Now he's staring at me. Like the whole time he wants to be up here, and he's yelling at me, he's meowing at me, and now he's just staring at me. He's a little turd. All right, we're gonna move on to our next topic then. These are my notes. I'm finished with those. Where do I put those? I'm gonna put them right there. There we go. Put those right there. The next thing that I want to do is let's do the bonus action quitting video. So bonus action is another YouTuber, and he did a video where he was like kind of quasi quitting, maybe. It wasn't clear. And I just want to watch it together, and I'm just gonna talk through different things. He made a whole bunch of really good observations in his video, and I want to give my own comments on them. He said some things in his video that were spot on, that were very astute observations, and he said some things that I think took a lot of courage to say, things that many other YouTubers are probably going to be quiet about and not make public videos saying it. They're going to think it and they're going to know it, but they're not going to say anything about it because some people might consider it bad form, even though it's completely true. And so when I watched this video, I was like, oh, this guy is cool. I like him already because he's speaking truth and he's not giving us a whole load of horse crap. So, because a lot of people make these videos and they're like, oh no, this guy's quitting YouTube, and they're like, oh, but he's actually like, he's got some good stuff to say. So I'm gonna get my headphones on and we're gonna listen to it together basically, and I'm gonna pause and just give you my feedback on it and tell you what I think about it. All right, my cat is gonna whine at me. He's just whining at me. All right, let's go over here. We're gonna go to theater mode. All right, I wanna stop my music. So let's pause that for now. If we're lucky, I'll remember to start this back up again. This is a great frame to start on, isn't it? Oh, the kitty has lots of feedback, but he's a turd right now. He's just sitting down here staring at me and then yelling at me. But when I invite him to come up here, he doesn't want to come up here. Do you want to come up here or not? Squeaky, come here. Come here. Oh my goodness. Now see, Do you want to come up here with me or not? I don't know. I don't know what he wants to do. I don't know. Okay, here we go. So the title of this video is Quitting D&D YouTube, and it's bonus action is the name of the channel. So I don't have a link to this or any, I should probably put a link of this in the description and stuff, but you can Google this and find it. It's not hard. You're big boys and girls. You can figure it out, I'm sure. But anyway, we're gonna do this. So let's start.
It may very well be that you'll be seeing a lot less of me in the coming months. You see, about a year ago, I went full-time on YouTube. I shouldn't have. I only had 25k subscribers, and I wasn't.
The amount of subscribers you have does not necessarily impact whether you can go full-time or not. If you're relying 100% on AdSense, yes. If that's all your YouTube, if that's the only way you're making money is AdSense, then yeah. The amount of views you get on a video impacts your AdSense, and the number of subscribers you have is less important, but oftentimes the number of subscribers is proportional with the amount of views you get. But views 100% impacts AdSense, and if that's the only source of revenue you have, then yeah, that could be a problem. But there are people that have gone full-time on YouTube with 25k subscribers and they do just fine, but they're also producing products and they're selling other things. They're not just relying on AdSense. But if you're only doing AdSense and sponsorship deals, then yeah, 25k subscribers and low views is going to make that kind of hard. But that's not the entire story. I know Dungeon Coach went full-time at 25k subscribers, yeah, he was somewhere around there. And but he had a Kickstarter, and he had a magazine that he was selling to his patrons and stuff, of content he was producing, and so he had other revenue streams.
Making that much money, but my hand was kind of forced a little bit because the industry I was working in, which was the VFX movies and TV industry, got decimated by the writers' strike and the actors' strike. So I gave myself an ultimatum. I can try and do YouTube full-time, which was my dream at the time, but after 1 year, after 12 months, if I wasn't making a wage I could live off, I'd walk away from YouTube and get myself an actual job.
I think that's smart too. You know, it's like you got laid off, and you're like, I'm gonna take my shot, but I'm gonna give myself a year. If I can't make it work in a year, then I'm gonna get a real job, quote unquote real job. So he probably had enough money set aside to like weather the storm, so to speak. So this is kind of, it's smart to put this deadline on it, right? Ideally, you would have a full-time job while you're developing your YouTube. That way you don't have to worry about revenue being low while you're starting your YouTube up, you know. But his hand was kind of forced, so it kind of makes sense. But giving yourself a time limit, very, very smart.
Maybe, hopefully, in the industry I was once in. It's been 11 months since I made the ultimatum. So in this video, I want to look at my channel over the past year, talk about views, talk about money, talk about YouTube, and specifically D&D Tube, and figure out if I will be quitting full-time YouTube or if I've made enough money to make this sustainable for maybe another year. Now, this whole thing for me has come around at an interesting time because the D&D YouTube space is full of videos right now about channels being killed by YouTube and older.
And this is the part where he's talking about this that I really liked, you know, and he's talking about how channels are being killed by YouTube. YouTube's not killing channels. That's not the way it works. I don't buy that for a second. And he has some really good observations, and this is part of the stuff that I really liked about what he had to say.
The channel's retiring. So I wanted to give you my take on it from a channel that's been around for 2 years. So not a long time in the grand scheme of things, but with channels popping up all the time, hopefully I can give you some interesting insights. So first off, for my ultimatum to work, I had a target amount of earnings in mind. The amount I wanted to make wasn't as much as I was earning during my full-time job, but it was enough to live off in Toronto, which is one of the more expensive.
Oh my gosh. No, okay, hold on. Let's see what he says.
Cities in North America. And it's not.
No. It's not one of it. It is Toronto's probably in the top 5 of the most expensive cities to live in. You guys, if you want to do YouTube full time, do not live in one of these cities. You need to move to like Michigan or Ohio or Indiana or one of these like rural states, you need to go to or I mean, he's in Canada, so, but you can't live in a city like Toronto. That is just bonkers, especially if you're doing YouTube. You can make videos anywhere. Why are you shackling yourself to one of the most expensive cities in North America? It's probably the top 5. Somebody in chat can probably give me like a breakdown of where it is. So yeah, Michigan is dirt cheap to live in. It's amazing. But trying to shoot your shot while living in the most expensive city in the world, I don't think that was it. You would have had a better shot if you would have gotten the heck out of that city. You know, not a knock on Toronto. I've never even been there. I tried to go there once, but the traffic was so bad that I couldn't even get into the city. And the guy told me you had to take a train, and I was like, I'm out. And my wife and I just turned around and went to Niagara Falls like we were planning on doing. So I don't even know the city, but like it's super expensive. We used to watch these House Hunters International thing, and it's like $1 million for a house. It's like, what? And it's like a 900 square foot house. We're like, what? That's crazy. That's crazy. We can get like a 2,500 square foot house in Michigan for like 300,000. You know, we're just like, these guys are crazy. Anyway, let's continue. I am digressing.
Not an insane wage by any means. It's like the minimum limit. Now in 2023, this is the full year for 2023, I got 3.3 million views on long form video. That's not shorts or streams or anything, that's just videos. And that number is insane.
And that's an important distinction too, because shorts don't make any money. I know YouTube has like revenue sharing on shorts. They don't make any money. The only way you make money on YouTube is long form videos.
Insanely high. But an interesting thing happened this year. As you can see, the very start of it, when I first created my channel on the 1st of January, the OGL happened. And I made some OGL drama videos, copying everyone else at the time, and I had quite a bit of success.
Everybody who was, okay, so OGL drama videos, everybody was doing it except for a few channels that had business interests that aligned with Wizards of the Coast. You may have noticed there were some channels that did not make OGL videos, or if they did, they really didn't say anything negative about it. They just kind of discussed what the OGL was. It's because those channels had financial interests that aligned with Wizards. Like they basically wanted to sell their stuff on on D&D Beyond, or they had business dealings, or they did like guest appearances and stuff. So they had business connections with Wizards of the Coast, and so those channels did not do OGL drama videos because they had to like make sure they didn't upset the people who pay the bills and their business relationships. But yeah, most people were doing them. 100%, most people were doing them.
As you can see, then the OGL stuff calmed down, and in February, views died. I was posting videos during this time, but I was just getting zero traction until June, where I started making my DM advice videos by looking at professional DMs. As you can see here, I got a little.
And that's actually those videos he just mentioned, the DM advice videos, professional. That's how I found his channel, because one of those popped up on my feed, and I was like, "What's this?" It was like, "That's a cool thumbnail." And I watched the video, and I was like, "This is a really well produced video. Like, really good job with editing and filming and B-roll." It was like, this guy's doing a good job. So that's how I found his channel.
Little bit of an explosion. In fact, between June and December alone, I think I got around 20,000 subscribers, leaving me at 25k subscribers when I went into 2024. So the last half of 2023 was really good for me. The idea that I would continue to get 20k subscribers every 6 months, ooh, wouldn't that be great? So when I got...
It never works that way. It never works that way. But you get excited. The same thing happened to me. There was a point where my channel was popping off and I was getting 1,000 subscribers a day, and I was like, oh! It didn't last very long, and then things kind of like leveled out and stuff,
laid off. I thought to myself, you know what, if I can go full time, if I can put all my effort into this, if I can make really high production quality videos and pump them out quite often, then there's no reason why I can't just keep growing this channel and be full time in no time at all. That's when I
gotta tell you though, high quality production videos, that is not always the kick ticket though. Like there are lots of channels, and I put out very simple videos too that don't have super high production quality, and some of those videos of mine do way better than the ones where I put in lots of effort. And so I don't think that high quality production value is the seller necessarily. I think the topic is important. I think if you have something interesting to say about something people want to hear about, I think that is, and there are lots of YouTubers that put videos out that aren't that high production value and they get lots and lots of views and stuff. So I don't think that that's necessarily a big winner necessarily. It can help, but there's a big asterisk by that.
Realized how unpredictable YouTube can be. This is 2024. Now, as you can see, I pumped out a lot more videos consistently throughout the year because I was full-time this year. And this only led to an 11% more increase in views from the year before. Now, bear in mind, most of my views from the year before came at the very start of the year during the OGL stuff in January and the last half of the year. So it's safe to say I was kind of very disappointed with the fact that I only had an 11% increase in views, especially since I had a back catalogue of videos from the first year that people were watching, so you would expect an increase in views. In fact, I've no doubt that if you took out all the videos from 2023, that this year, just views on new videos alone would be less than I got last year. And I was full-time this year and I wasn't last year. Now, the saving grace of these stats is that last year I had an average view duration of 341, and this year I had an average view duration of 527.
I mean, that happens. When you make longer videos, your view duration is going to be higher. Also, when you do make high quality videos with a lot of B-roll and stuff, the average view duration tends to be longer as well. So those things do correlate, and there is some tracking with that.
People watch my videos for longer this year. I think that's because I was putting more effort into those videos and trying to keep audience retention up. My videos also got longer, which I think
I would be super interested to see what his audience retention looks like too. Because I know what mine looks like, and I would like mine to be better. So sometimes I wonder, if I really go crazy on the B-roll, is that going to help with audience retention or not? And he does a really good job on the B-roll and stuff like that. So I would love to see what his audience retention is, because that would just kind of like tell me, hey, is it worth it or not?
I think is why I have more impressions as well. But who knows? A lot of this is kind of black magic. But it's safe to say, views can be all over the place. Click-through rate and my audience retention graphs are fundamentally very similar.
And he has pretty decent thumbnails too. Like these are decent some thumbnails. So he's definitely doing okay on the thumbnails.
On every single one of these videos, yes.
I mean, in my opinion, from somebody who is not very good at thumbnails, so take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But they look good to me. I don't know.
Some of them are hitting 195k, 77k, 99k, and others 9k, 5k, 16k. Now, I'm not saying there's no rhyme or reason to this. It may be that there are certain videos that do better than others on my channel, but if you keep making the same video over and over again, then that also leads to less views. So it's a very hard game to figure out and start winning in. When it comes to money, I've thrown together a very poor little spreadsheet here, just telling me that in 2023, from ad revenue from YouTube alone, which is pretty much all I earned in that year, I got 1/6 of my target wage. I'd have to make 6 times that to be happily full-time. In 2024, I doubled that.
See, this is the problem. When you only rely on ad revenue, that is very challenging. You have really got to get lots of views if you want to be able to make a living wage on YouTube with ad revenue. And obviously he's in one of the most expensive cities in North America, so that's not helping him at all. If he moved to a different place that had a lower cost of living, he could probably slash these numbers by 1/3 and he'd be able to live on it. But he's just picked one of the most expensive cities to live in.
I made 1/3 of my target wage, which doesn't make much sense.
And this is like the entire year he's made $1,000 on Patreon. The affiliate links are $3,000. This is like almost non-consequential income.
Sense because I only got 10% more views, but I think that's because I made longer videos and got people watching for longer, so they saw more ads, I earned more money. I also earned some money from Patreon. I got about $1,000 for that for the year. Channel members, though, I only made like...
The only way to make money on Patreon usually is to create a product that your patrons get. If you essentially just, I don't know what he does, I'm just speaking in generalities. If you just hold your hand out and say, hey guys, support the content that I make that's already free for you, you're gonna have some people, super fans will do it, but most people won't. Most people want like an actual product that you give your patrons.
$30 from that. I only have 4 of them, but I appreciate you. Twitch subs, I was very inconsistent streaming on Twitch. I maybe only did it for like 2 months out of the whole year.
It doesn't matter. You could have streamed on Twitch 10 hours a day and gone hog wild, and Twitch is just a fickle beast, and you probably wouldn't have made much more money anyway.
$100 from that. Affiliate links really surprised me when I make.
The only way to really make a Twitch channel work is to use a different social media channel such as YouTube or Instagram or maybe TikTok, and then drive that audience over to Twitch, because there is no organic discoverability on Twitch. You really have to develop. You have to cultivate and create an audience elsewhere, and then drive that audience to Twitch. It is a mountain of work. So he didn't lose anything by being inconsistent on Twitch. I guarantee you.
Videos reviewing DICE or D&D products, and I have the affiliate links in the bottom there. That netted me about $3K in 2024. And then the big one, sponsorships. I made about as much in sponsorships as I did in ad revenue, meaning.
Yeah, you can make a lot of money in sponsorships. Absolutely. Sponsorships are usually dependent on the number of views you get. So the more views you get, the more, because they do the thing called CPM, like, cost per mil. So like, what's the cost per million people, or per 1,000 people, I'm sorry, that see it. So, but yeah, more views means the sponsors will pay you more money, which makes total sense. So yeah, but you can make some good money with sponsorships. You can make some good money doing that. But then you just have to plug somebody's product in all your videos.
In 2024, I got about 2/3, maybe even closer to 3/4 of my target wage. So close. But what I've not included here is the cost of running my channel. I bought new gear for filming. I have bought a lot of products that I review. I mean, I probably spent thousands of dollars on products that I'm reviewing. And I spent a lot of money on software as well, like Photoshop and music licenses.
I spend like about $65 a month for my Adobe Creative Suite licensing, like Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, that I use for video editing and stuff. So yeah, there's some software costs. Those start to add up for sure.
Some of this stuff maybe isn't necessary for the channel to do what it's doing, but I think other stuff definitely is. But either way, getting so close to my target goal, well, I don't know if it feels good or feels bad. It feels good because, like, I never would have thought I'd be able to make that much money on something I'm just creating myself. But on the other side, if I just made a little bit more, then I could live. But the real twist here is that when I got laid off from work and went full-time officially, that was at the end of February 2023, meaning I still have 1 more month left in this 12-month period to hit my target. Now, to be completely honest with you, it doesn't look like it's gonna happen, and that's fine. I don't wanna seem like I can't pay rent or I'm struggling in a big way. Luckily, I had some savings and I can.
Yeah, see, this is smart. The last thing you want to do is make a I'm quitting video and then ask your fans to send you money because you can't pay your bills. That is, what's the word for that? It's just, geez, what is the word for that? There is a word, that feeling in your gut. It's like, if you were like asking people like, I can't pay my bills, guys. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Please send money. Here's my like Venmo or whatever it is. That is not good. You don't want to do that to your fans, man. And so it's very smart to have savings, and he's planning stuff. He's doing finances, and he's got a plan, and he had 12 months and he had it all worked out, so he's doing this very wisely. If you're going to take your shot, you want to take your shot after planning, and you want to have a game plan. So I think this is a very wise approach to trying to do this.
Just be a normal person and go get a job. I don't want it to seem like I'm like, oh, it's this or nothing, blah, 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 blah. This has been a fun experiment, and it sucks a little bit if I don't make it, but I've still been incredibly privileged, and I've just had.
And it's cool, too, because, dude, for 2 years, you got to do what many people see as a dream job. You got to do something that lots of people see as awesome, And so it's like, it's just cool. For 2 years, you got to do that, man. And I guarantee you that, when you're old and you're going to be like, yeah, I remember, you're always going to think back, the 2 years or whatever it was, or the decade or however long it ends up being. That's when I was doing YouTube stuff, and it was awesome. I love that crap. So like you got to do something really awesome. So even if you got to go get a normal job and stuff, it's like, oh man, you had a really good thing, and that was cool.
The best year of my life, so potato. And if I don't make my goal, then honestly, I'm still gonna make YouTube videos. It just might be one every 2 months rather than, you know, one every week or two, though.
I wouldn't do that, dude. Like, I would just lower your production quality. There have been some other YouTubers in the D&D space who essentially took like a 2-month break because they were making a big high production video, and then when they released their big high production video, it got just as many views as their normal videos that take much lower effort got. And so if you want to continue to try to make this work while you have a full-time job, it's probably a better idea to lower your production value and keep doing a video a week, or maybe even 2 weeks, but better a video a week than to do one every 2 months. Because usually if you start to get to where you're only doing a video every couple of months, usually YouTube will not like that, and the algorithm won't be nice and kind to you. There are exceptions to that, obviously, but generally speaking, you need to put like one out a week or something. Otherwise, the algorithm mojo is not going to be on your side.
Shameless plug, if you did want to help me out, my Patreon's there, it's got some free stuff on it, or even channel membership. But that's not what this video is about, because I want to talk about how to be a great GM a little bit. I know this is like a dead horse being beaten.
No, this is a good horse. Like, let's beat this horse, because he has some really good observations that I love that he actually said this stuff, because nobody else was really saying some of these things. And this is like the main reason I wanted to look at this, actually, because this is some great stuff.
At this point, a ton of creators have talked about this, but honestly, I feel like a lot of people are being a little bit too nice about it.
Yeah, they're being too nice, they're being too generous, and they're not saying what they actually think. I'm in another Discord server that has a bunch of content creators in it, and like when the Great Jam put his video out and stuff, like everybody was like talking about like this, that, and the other thing, you know, but they weren't saying it publicly. He's gonna say stuff publicly, and kudos to this guy. It's good stuff.
I kind of wanted to be a bit more direct. Last month, How to Be a Great GM put out this video called The End of How to Be a Great GM Channel, with a thumbnail that said goodbye. It is a goodbye video. He's saying that his channel is not getting any more views fundamentally, it's not what he wants from it, so he is leaving. He's still gonna post his actual play videos on there, but no more How to Be a Great GM content as far as the advice videos go. Now, the reason why this is controversial is, one, he has been around for a very long time. And in the video, he talks about how grateful he is that he could be a full-time YouTuber for so long. But the other thing he said in this video is that he has a meeting with a YouTube representative in the YouTube offices, and he gets told that YouTube is no longer going to push his content to viewers, which is made...
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't think that didn't happen quite the way it was portrayed.
A lot of other content creators go, huh? Because YouTube doesn't want to kill channels. YouTube doesn't want to end anyone's career. In fact, it wants everyone to succeed. I know it's hard to believe because it's so hard to succeed, but the more successful creators on YouTube, the more people watching YouTube, the better for YouTube. So either I'm misunderstanding exactly what Guy from How to Be a Great GM is talking about here, or they're misunderstanding it, or there's something else going on. But I would love for them to make another video and talk about this, because it would be really useful for other creators out there to understand exactly what happened. Because what he said goes against how every other person thinks YouTube works. In fact...
Yeah, I think that meeting probably was more like, hey, your channel is dead. The algorithm is not going to promote your channel anymore. You need to do something else. That's probably what the meeting was. It wasn't like, we're actively going to kill your channel and not promote you. And that's what he said in his video. That's not actually what happened, in my personal opinion. I think they said that, yeah, your channel's dead. The algorithm's not going to promote you anymore. It wasn't YouTube. The YouTube offices didn't push a button to not promote it. I think that, and he's going to get into some of the reasons why the algorithm wasn't promoting the channel in a second here.
How YouTube works, I'm confident in this, even though I don't know how to fully utilize it, but I'm confident the way YouTube works, and has done for absolutely years, is high click-through rate and long watch time equals more views. The idea that having more subscribers is going to help you has been dead for about 5 years, certainly since I started to look.
This is 100% true. High click-through rate, and that's your thumbnails, having good thumbnails, and then high watch time. right? And that means once people click on your video and are there, they keep on watching for a long period of time. And if people are clicking on your thumbnails and then watching your video for a long period of time, that gives YouTube really good information and it makes them happy. And then the algorithm is going to push your videos out. That's what you want. High click through, high watch time. If you hit those, then you're going to make YouTube happy and they're going to push your videos out. But if you don't get those things, you're going to feel like nothing's happening, because it's not, because you're not hitting the right metrics.
Look into YouTube years and years and years ago, it's been the homepage as the place to get to, and it's been recommendations as the way to get more views. With that in mind, channels aren't trying to get audience retention up to get people watching their videos for longer, and people aren't getting people to click on their videos more by working on video ideas, titles, and thumbnails a lot more. If you're not pushing those two things, your channel's not going to do well. And in fact, that can be seen by How to Be a Great GM's video here about him leaving. It did really well. Why did it do really well? Because it's an incredibly clickable thumbnail that says final.
Yeah, I saw that video from How to Be a Great GM. I saw that thumbnail and I was like, I have to watch this. I have to watch it. I have to. It's crazy clickable. You just got to click on it. So it's a beautiful thumbnail.
Video, thank you, happy gaming. So this is going to get a high click-through rate. It's a good length of video at 15 minutes, and I don't know about you, but I watched it all the way through to find out exactly what was going on. This would have had very high audience retention.
Exactly. I watched the whole thing too. I wanted to hear the whole story. So yes, it had great click-through, high audience retention.
Now, I've seen other channels look at his other videos to kind of figure out what's going on, and I've kind of said, yeah, do the other videos have that? Do they have the high click-through rates and high audience retention? So I don't want to get into that. My point is just that I find it very hard to believe that a YouTube representative told him that his videos were not getting pushed anymore and that the channel was dead. I think it's much more likely they said, hey, the kind of content you are making is not going to do very well. It's not been doing well. It's not going to continue doing well. So you have to change up the content. If the How to Be a Great GM,
I think that's really what happened. If you look at the thumbnails, not super clickable, generally speaking, and the content probably is appealing to most people, and so the audience retention is probably not super great. I think that's really what was going on, and so this is probably what actually happened at the meeting. I think he's spot on with his observation here.
GM channel was truly dead and wasn't getting pushed out to anyone anymore, then how did this get 125,000 views? Anyway, this video triggered a whole sub-meta.
Yeah, 125,000 views because it was super clickable and had really good audience retention and watch time, you know? And then the other videos didn't, and so they don't get views. I mean, YouTube's not brain surgery.
Of videos in the YouTube D&D space. And honestly, it's made a lot of creators make videos talking about their channels in a very personal way, and I've really enjoyed those videos. And it's also not to say that the YouTube game isn't constantly shifting and changing. Now, don't get me wrong, I do stand by the fact that YouTube has been for a long time and will continue to be just a click-through rate and watch time game. Get those two things up, you're good to go. I don't think anything's really shifting too much on YouTube's algorithm side, though it does, but I think the goal of it is always going to be the same. But I do think audience behavior can change. I think TikTok and Shorts have come in and changed the way creators create and changed the way the audiences like to take in content, which has had a massive effect on viewing habits of
Yeah, I think this is totally true. I think that what we did 5 years ago isn't going to work as well as what we should be doing now or something. So I think that viewer habits change. I think that preferences change. I think that what people expect and want is going to change. And so yes, so if the way you create your content today is the same as what you did 5 years ago, is the same as what you did 10 years ago, the chances are is it's not going to perform the same. It's probably going to perform worse. So what worked for you 10 years ago won't continue to work for you forever. That's just the way it is. It's not going to work that way. I think that's very true. And so if you don't continually innovate and change what you're doing and try new things, then your channel is going to slowly die, and it's nobody's fault but your own.
Normal videos. And I also think that COVID threw everything out of whack, and there were creators who came in and saw huge bursts during COVID and now can't keep doing what they were doing. Also, in the microcosm of the D&D space, I think the OGL did something as well. I think the OGL completely changed YouTube. I think a lot of creators came in and realized that they could make a lot more money making rage bait, and that's kind of like changed everything forever a little bit. There's a whole argument going on at the moment about clickbait in general, which I definitely used on this video, and it's also been being used on YouTube for, well, I mean, ever since it was created, and it's...
Yeah, for sure. There are definitely channels that are completely 100% devoted to clickbaity, rage baity titles and thumbnails. Like, the world is always burning. There's always a new scandal, and it just got worse. You know, like, there's channels devoted to that sort of thing, and it gets clicks. It gets people to click on it. And the thing is that when you click on that stuff, you're helping that crap succeed. You know, so yeah, there's so much truth in what he just said, and literally entire channels devoted to rage bait garbage.
It's important to remember that the power is completely in the audience's hands there. Viewers, if you get tricked by clickbait and you click into a video, or worse, rage bait, and then you realize, you know, pretty fast, for the love of God, don't watch the video all the way through.
Yeah, don't watch the video, and don't leave a comment, and don't thumbs down it. The best thing you can do is just leave the video and say nothing and do nothing. Like, if you get tricked by rage bait garbage, don't leave a comment. Don't thumbs down it. Don't watch the video. Leave. For the love of all that's holy, leave. Because that is going to make YouTube deprioritize it in the algorithm. But if you leave an angry comment and give it a thumbs down and create engagement, oh wow, you're just helping the rage baity crappy video do better. Like, you're angry at the video, you're angry at the person who made it, and then you're helping them succeed. It's like, don't do that. You got to resist the urge to leave a comment and stuff. You got to just leave. You got to peace out, you know?
And for the love of God, don't comment on the video saying it's clickbait. Don't engage with the video at all. If you click on a video and then click straight off it again, you can destroy that video's growth. And if those videos don't do well anymore, the content creators won't make them anymore. I personally believe.
And that's the thing. The reason there are entire channels devoted to rage bait videos, and you guys know what they are, the reason there are entire channels that do that, and the reason they keep on doing that, is because it works. And they will continue to make that garbage as long as it works. And it only works because viewers click on it, watch it, leave angry comments and stuff. It works, and as long as it works, they're going to keep on doing it. They're going to keep on doing it, man.
That is, you know, good clickbait or harmless clickbait. The YouTube sphere is very, very competitive right now. So if I can get you into a video that is interesting, that you want to watch, and I do it in a way that is sensationalism, then I think that's okay. If I do it...
Yeah, that's the trick. Sensationalism. How can you create interest and make it sensational and make it very clickable and get people to watch it? But you're still fulfilling the promise of the thumbnail. You're fulfilling the promise of the video itself. That's not clickbait. That's just doing our jobs, you know. And it's a fine line to walk, and sometimes you don't walk it very well. But that's ideally that's what a YouTuber should be doing. They should be making very clickable titles and thumbnails that make people want to watch the video, you know. But then they have to fulfill on what they promised you in the title and video. If they don't fulfill on it, then it's clickbait. Then it's like a bait and switch, right? And then that's a problem.
In a way that I'm flat out lying about what the video is about, then that is an issue. And from this side, the creator side, it's hard to see where that line is sometimes. So it is nice to get feedback, but the best feedback you can give isn't a comment about something being clickbaity. The best feedback you can give is not watching a video very long, honestly. But YouTube, for whatever reason, is constantly shifting and changing. And one thing I've not seen that many people talk about is huge channels in this space. I'm talking about Dimension 20 and Critical Role. Now, Dimension 20 has a presence on YouTube, but most of its content goes out on Dropout. And actually, there's been less and less content going to YouTube of recent years. On a similar note, Critical Role created Beacon, where they can put more of their content that probably would have gone on the channel, maybe, but they can put it behind a paywall and they can control it much better. And I do believe there's going to be a shift to these kinds of off-YouTube sites a lot more in the future. We see it
I see it all over the place. Like, there are lots of channels that I watch who will I don't remember the sites and stuff that they promote, but there are more and more I'm seeing channels that will talk about how, oh, you know, we can't put, like, for instance, there's this one channel I watch. It's called Armed, what do they call it? Armed Attorneys, and they talk a lot about the Second Amendment and guns and gun rights and stuff. And because of the content that they produce, some of what they talk about, well, YouTube always demonetizes it, and sometimes YouTube just won't promote it at all. And so I'm pretty sure that they put some of their content on a different platform where they aren't getting like strangled and stuff. So I definitely heard this from multiple people that I watch where they're putting their content elsewhere because YouTube just, you know, they have certain things they do that doesn't make it easy for you to make videos on certain topics.
All the time with creators now and their Patreons, like my Patreon. Another shameless plug. I won't do it again, I promise. But there is a trend of seeing creators not trusting the YouTube algorithm to do what is best for their channel. And this makes sense. YouTube says over and over again that their goal is viewer satisfaction, not creator satisfaction. They want their creators to be happy, don't get me wrong, but they're not the priority. YouTube may not be like killing channels outright, but they're certainly not giving them freebies, you know? Now, the D&D YouTube space is tiny in the grand scheme of things. It really is a microcosm, but it is a reflection of what's happening across the internet in other hobbies and niches, especially on YouTube as well. And as for the idea that I've seen that the niche is dying, I am seeing new creators pop up all the time and getting insane views, and I'm seeing older creators get more and more views every single year, which points to the fact that overall, there's more viewers every year. And I believe I saw somewhere that the average career for a YouTuber is about 5 years. That's how long a channel.
Yeah, you don't got long. You don't have long. You get in and you're going to be successful for a while, and then you're probably not going to be relevant forever, you know. And so you got to have a game plan. You got to, when you're at the top of your game and your channel's doing well, like either you got to be thinking about, what am I going to do 2 years from now? And am I going to have money saved up? Am I going to have investments? Am I going to have a retirement plan? You got to be thinking about that, man. You got to think hard about that, because your YouTube channel will eventually die. It eventually will go nowhere. Statistically, that will happen. So you can't live with your head buried in the sand and not recognize that will happen someday to you. There are exceptions, right? There's survivorship bias. You know, you look at channels like Mr. Beast and stuff, and you're like, how could that ever? Holy crap, that's nuts. You know what I mean? But most channels you don't have forever, and eventually it's gonna go away. So you got to have a game plan. You got to think about that. Otherwise, you're gonna have to end your channel and then beg your viewers to send you money because you can't pay your bills, and that's kind of pathetic.
Remains like healthy at the top of his game. But I do think that's because a lot of those creators find ways to monetize things in other ways and actually move away from the YouTube channel. So the idea that How to Be a Great GM did 10 years of YouTube and is now moving away, by the way, to create 2 new channels is a really good run. And the weirdest thing for me is that I've gone from being a brand new creator on the block to being 2 years in now and seeing all these other brand new creators coming out the woodwork.
Yeah, 10 years is a crazy good run. How to Be a Great GM, 10 years on it, that's a great run. That's a long time to be making videos, for sure. And he's had Kickstarters and stuff that he's done that's made him some money and stuff, so yeah.
Doing much better than I did, will probably overtake me very soon in views and subscribers. And they look at me like I've been around for a really long time. I don't feel like it yet. I still feel like I'm brand new to the space and I'm trying to figure it all out. But it just goes to show that there is a circle of life in YouTube creation. And I guess I've just got to enjoy the ride. So over the next month,
100%, you have to enjoy the ride. Like, you just got to be like, you know what? This is amazing. This is really cool. This is amazing. Like, I love this crap, and I'm going to enjoy the journey, because eventually the journey is going to be over, you know? But right now I'm going to have fun doing it. But you also have to be wise. You got to think about what's going to happen next. You know, how am I going to provide for my family? How am I going to pay my bills? You know, you got to think about these things. What are you going to do? You know, my YouTube channel is going to die eventually. So, like, is the business going to be able to continue once the channel is dead? And what does that look like? You have to think about these things. You can't just, like, you know, ignore them and have your head in the sand. Otherwise, it's not going to look good.
I'm going to be monitoring my finances and trying my hardest to get good videos out there. And if I don't hit my financial goals for the past 12 months by the end of it, then I'll be going into full job hunting mode and you will see a lot less of me. Maybe you'll enjoy that. But if I do hit my goals and I do buy myself one more year, I'm going to shift my goals around a little bit. I'm going to stop thinking about subscribers. I'm going to stop thinking about views in general on individual videos. Because some videos are just going to do badly, some are going to do well. In fact, it's kind of a healthy thing because it means I'm experimenting with different types of content if it's that wildly fluctuating, and some of my best
Yeah, I think this is a this is a great point. Like, you have to experiment with content, and some of the content you put out there is going to be really different and may not work that well. Next week, I have a video coming out on Tuesday that is a different style than I've ever done before. And I'm going to see if it works or not. Who knows? But you have to do those types of experiments. You have to. And then your views might go up, they might go down if people don't take to that certain style, but you have to experiment. You have to do that stuff constantly. Otherwise, you're just going to die.
Videos ever, including one that's going to hit 1 million views in the next couple of weeks, were born out of me doing those weird experiments. I also want to start doing a healthy mix of very high quality.
Oh, the other comment I have is, like, if he wants to really make the run work, then he really, the single biggest thing you can do that's going to help you financially and to help your YouTube career last as long as you can is you got to create products. You have to create products that you can sell. Like, that is where the actual revenue comes from. YouTube AdSense, sponsorships, all of that stuff pales in comparison to having an actual product that you can sell. Like, you literally have an audience of people that watch you. If you can make products that they will want, that they will use, and that they will pay you for, like, that's how you can actually make your YouTube career not only work in the short term, but allow you to do things like invest and build up a retirement so that when your channel dies eventually, you're not left with nothing. And so he's talking about like views and different changes and stuff, but really, like, having products that you can sell, doing Kickstarters and stuff like that, or just having something that you give your patrons that isn't just, you're not just holding your hands out and asking for money, but you're giving them something. Like, those are the way to actually create revenue as a YouTuber and be able to put away money to prepare for the future so you can take care of your family, so that you can retire, so that you're not worried about like what's going to happen when this all ends,
Long videos that I spend weeks on, and very, very short videos like this one, which I can kind of sit down and film in a day, just so there's kind of always content coming out, and I always have
I can't imagine taking an entire day to film a video. That is bonkers to me. I have my filming days where I will film 4 videos, and it takes me about 6 hours to film the videos. And then I have an editor who edits them for me. I don't actually edit them myself. And then some of my videos I literally will record on the live stream, like right now, and then I will edit it tomorrow morning. It takes me about an hour, and then I throw a thumbnail and a title on it, and I ship it. Like, spending a week to edit a video is bonkers. Spending a day to film a video is bonkers. Like, there needs to be some more efficiency into that process. And then if you can make your process more efficient, then you have time to do other things, such as, like I said, create products that people are interested in buying, because you can't just spend all of your time making videos. That is in my opinion, not a wise use of your time, from a business standpoint.
a really big one I'm hoping will do well on the horizon. So hopefully my channel will be around for a little bit longer. Thank you for making this past year of me being full-time an amazing year. Thank you for watching my videos. And I'm gonna edit this and then start working on my next high quality video. And if you want an idea of what I mean by higher quality videos.
All right, there we go. That's pretty much the end of that. So I'll take these off. I don't like wearing these when I can avoid it. And then let's get our music going again. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much that. I mean, he had some really good observations and stuff, and yeah, we'll see if he can make his run work. But he had 2 years living your dream. That's pretty stinking sweet. It's pretty stinking sweet. So Don't forget, guys, we have a sale going on right now over on the dmlair.com. You can get 25 to 50% off everything we make. Remember how I was talking about, have products that you can sell because that's where you actually can make revenue that pays the bills and guards you for your future. Well, guess what? I put my money where my mouth is. We literally make products that lots of people love and use and get lots of value out of. So right now you can save tons of money on those products. In fact, we have this DM Lair Ultimate Collection. You can get every single book we've ever published right here. And the retail price is $215. It's $150, but with the discount codes that are at this red bar right above here, you can get another 25% off from this. And we have there, you can get digital, you can get the digital bundle. We have the hardcover bundle. Oh, the hardcover bundle is actually more. It's actually more for the hardcovers. The digital one, if you just want the PDFs, it's a lot less. You can get both, obviously, too. You can get both hardcovers and digitals. But this will get you every single book we've ever published, which is lots of crazy good content. Obviously, we have The Secret Art of Game Mastery. We have Layers and Legends. You can buy them individually as well. They're all here individually, so however you want it. So hardcovers, and we ship anywhere in the world as well. Anywhere in the world. I mean, obviously, there's some places we don't ship to, but anywhere within reason, like we're gonna be able to ship to you. Like if you're like, I live in a war-torn country, yeah, we're probably not gonna be able to ship there. But anywhere else, we're gonna be able to hook you up. So go over and check this out. This Valentine sale is going to last until next Friday. So you definitely want to pop in there and grab some cool stuff. And hey, if you gift it to like your sweetheart or like your wife or like your girlfriend or something, and they don't play D&D, then I guess you get to keep it for yourself. And so if you can financially justify it better that way and helps you sleep at night, who am I to tell you otherwise? We also have a giveaway going on as well. There should be a link down in the chat for you. Hopefully a moderator will throw it. Nightbot's doing its job too, so you can go click that link and get in on the giveaway. We're giving you $50 DM Lair store credit. The winner will get that. We'll draw the winner at the end of the live stream. And literally, like, that $50 is going to go even farther right now because we have this sale going on. So it's going to stretch into, like, it's actually more like closer to maybe $75 or something, just because we have those deep discounts going on right now. So anyway, join the giveaway. You click a few things. It's free. We'll draw the winner a little bit. It's, it's like a no-brainer. You should just do it. Okay, I'm going to fill my coffee up, but I have a special video prepared for you. Too busy working to really get too deep into that stuff. Go check out Dungeon Drifters. There's a link in the description. One of our moderators will throw a chat to it as well. This is the board game that we're launching on Kickstarter in about 2 months. It'll launch in April. So this is super, super cool. I envision it's like a dungeon crawler. It's D&D adjacent in a way. Basically, you pick a character, you dive into dungeons, you defeat monsters, you gather all their loot, and you try to be the first to escape the dungeon with the most loot, essentially. It's a competitive game that you can play with your friends, casual gamers, family members that maybe aren't super into like heavy rules and complex setups and stuff like that. Just a little quick, well, it's not a quick game. It usually takes about an hour and a half or so maybe for a game. But the point is that you can get in playing super fast. And we have crazy artwork for it as well. Like I have a whole bunch of, you're in the way. These are like some of our prototype acrylic standees that we have for it, full color artwork. These are prototypes. These are about twice as big as they're actually going to be, but we needed to get some prototypes so that we could take photos and crap like that for like marketing and stuff. So, but the artwork is stinking amazing in these things. So anyway, there's a link down in the description. You just click it. It'll take you to a page where you can learn more about the game. You can sign up to be notified when we go live. You can follow the Kickstarter page. And if you put down a $1 reservation, when you so you put down a $1 reservation before we launch, like you could do that like right now. And then when we do launch the project and you back, you're going to get a free miniature, Slick Von Arachne and his loot drop included with your pledge when you back. So you put down the $1 reservation now, today, or whenever, anytime before we launch in April, and you're fine. And then you're gonna get that free mini. And that $1 reservation goes toward your pledge as well. So it's literally just like, put this money now, it counts toward later, you get a free mini. It's like score. Okay, cool. So that was obviously for our Kickstarter that's coming up in April, Dungeon Drifters. So you can go check that out. It's really cool. Of course, it's really cool. Like I made it. No, I'm obligated to say that my stuff is cool. Like, you know, and if I didn't think it was cool, why the heck am I publishing it? Like, wouldn't that be just crazy? It's like, yeah, this really sucks, but I'm gonna publish it anyway. That just doesn't make sense. Okay, the last thing I want to tell you guys, I want to tell you a story. So the story I want to tell you is, it wasn't my first D&D 2024 game, but it was probably like the third one that I've played in. And we were, so Zach, who works for me, he's Goliath Cleric in the chat right now. Zach was the game master and I was a player, and I was playing a wizard. I forget the name of my wizard. It was a very hard to pronounce name that I don't even remember now, but I was playing a wizard and we were fighting against a bunch of goblinoids. They were like hobgoblins, bugbears. There were some goblin swarms. And the thing that really struck me as I was playing this as my wizard and the other players and stuff like this is that it was very challenging. The encounters were very challenging. And Zach was using the new encounter creation math, like the challenge rating, you know, how do you set up an encounter? He was using the new math to create these encounters. And they weren't deadly encounters. They weren't like really hard ones. These were like moderate encounters. These were like the middle of the road encounters. And they were hard, and we were having to bust our butts to not die. I'm a wizard. I'm dropping the very first encounter, I drop my fireball, the one fireball I have. The second encounter, I do my hypnotic pattern. I'm doing crowd control. I'm kind of like a part crowd controller, part DPS, part like specialty utility stuff. And so I'm doing everything I can to crowd control and do a little bit damage here and there. I'm burning my wad because it was crazy. And then we were probably on our third encounter, I believe, for the game session. And this is where I put a web down. Other people are putting darkness down, fog cloud. There's a bunch of stuff going on. And we have, essentially what happened is one of the enemies from the second encounter escaped, got away, and then got reinforcements. And then the reinforcements were converging upon us. And so we're doing everything we can to hold these things off. And there was a wizard, a mage in this third encounter, and he slipped through our front lines and got into the back lines of us. And I was playing cagey, like hiding around the corner, trying to not have line of sight because I knew there was a wizard. And so I'm hiding around the corner. Well, he slipped. Zach had the wizard come through the front lines and then had straight line of sight. The wizard dropped a cone of cold on us. So this is I think we were level, were we level 5? Yeah, we were level 5 because I had fireball. I had 2 slots, so we were level 5. And we had a enemy, and this is just out of the monster manual, and it was an appropriate challenge encounter, drop a cone of cold on us. And he angled this cone of cold perfectly, right? I think it hit almost every single one of us, the players, just blasted us, all right? I, of course, failed my saving throw as a wizard. I didn't dump con, but it wasn't my best stat, and I failed my saving throw as a wizard. And something happened to me that has never happened to me before. Something happened that I have never seen in D&D 5th edition. Something crazy. It was like a magical moment, an awesome, amazing moment. My wizard received enough damage from that cone of cold to kill him outright. I had, I think, maybe 31 total hit points or something, somewhere around there. And the cone of cold did enough damage to me to drop me to 0 and then take me all the way down to negative hit point value that equaled my maximum hit points, which kills you outright. I have never seen that happen in D&D 5th edition because D&D 5th edition has always lacked teeth. It was always just this kind of wussies game, of superheroes that can never die. I died. Not only did I die, but I died in a way that I've never seen happen in D&D 5th edition. And even at lower levels, like where it's only kind of possible, we were level 5 and it happened to me. And so I loved it. I was so happy. I was smiling. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that not only did I die, which I think is a good, enjoyable part of the game experience from time to time to have character death. I think that's a good thing. Not only did I die, but I did it in a way that I'd never seen before. And it reinforced to me that D&D 5th edition 2024 has teeth. Like, not only did we have these encounters that were actually challenging, that we actually thought we might lose and we had to fight through them, it was not a cakewalk, you know. Not only did that happen, but I died outright, you know, and the other players were getting whomped on, stomped. It was cool. It was really, really cool. And so this is the first 2 sessions that I played in D&D 5th edition 2024. I don't think really counted because we didn't really do a whole lot. This is the first, in my opinion, legitimate, actual, real 2024 game I played in. And my overall impression of it was like, I kind of like this, man. It's hard, it's challenging, and I died. Wow. So I thought that was cool. I thought that was worth sharing with you all because it just left me with kind of like, man, I just kind of like that. This is kind of cool. It's never happened to me before. It never happened to me before. I've never seen it before. It's like one of those mythical tales, you know, like, you know that in the rule book it says that it can happen, but you've never actually seen it happen. It's like a unicorn, you know. So there you go. There's my cool story from like the first official time or legitimate time I think I've played D&D 2024 where we actually ran into some stuff, you know, that had teeth or that was kind of like realish or whatever. But anyway, super, super cool. So anyway, there you go. There's my story. So you're saying the new monster manual is worth getting? Look, I think what I see in the stat blocks from the new monster manual, I like the stat blocks. I like a lot of the changes they made. And they definitely made the monsters more powerful. And the game needed that. So I think overall, my impression of what I've seen in the monster manual, I know I spent like an hour ranting about the lore and how there were things that weren't done ideally in the lore. But my overall impression of the new monster manual is favorable. Like, I think that there's some stuff in there that I really like. The monsters have gotten beefed up. They've made some changes to the stat blocks that are improvements. So I think overall, it's a very favorable, my initial impression of it. And I haven't read the whole thing, obviously. So I mean, like I said when I was talking about the lore, I was nitpicking that. That was like more of a criticism and a nitpick, you know, rather than like, oh, the whole book's a piece of trash. I wasn't saying that at all. So I think they made there's some good stuff in there, you know. So yeah, I mean, I don't think you're not wasting your money, and there's some good stuff in there for sure. So yeah. And the circle is now complete. Okay, so I'm going to draw the winner of our giveaway in just a few moments. So there is a link down in the chat where you can go join the giveaway. It's totally free. The winner is going to win $50 Lair store credit. I'm going to draw that winner in just a few moments. This is your last chance to sign up for the giveaway if you haven't done so already, and then I'm going to draw the winner. And while you're all doing that, I'm going to regale you with a new story about how we have a Valentine's sale going on right now over on the dmlair.com. So if you go over here, you can get 25 to 50% off everything we sell right now through next Friday. So go over here, click some stuff, grab some stuff. You know, we have this DM Lair Ultimate Collection, every single book we've ever published. You can get tons off from it. And the discount codes are all displayed at the very top of the screen. Just add these to your cart, add both of the codes to your cart, and the discounts will be applied to the stuff that you purchase, and you're gonna save tons of money. So go check that out. Go do that right now. If you've been eyeballing something, this is the time to do it. You know you were gonna spend money on like chocolates and a card and flowers. You know, just don't do that. You know, just go buy some books for yourself. You know, like, yeah, your girlfriend's gonna break up with you, but you know, you could always find another one. Books, however, are forever. Like you know you were gonna break up eventually, but The book you're going to have for years to come, and you're going to get lots of enjoyment out of this. I don't think I made a convincing argument right there, but I'm rolling with that. Like, people are like, they're gonna be like a couple weeks from now, you know, Luke, I'm getting divorced now because of you. Good call, man, not getting my wife chocolates. What a jerk. Oh, Goliath has a good point. If your significant other breaks up with you because they wanted chocolate instead of D&D, you're better off. I mean, that's not a bad point. Books are forever, romances are not. I mean, that's it's true in many cases, many cases. Yeah, especially if it's just girlfriend. You know, that's eventually almost as surely going to end at some point. It's just statistics, guys. All right, let's draw the winner to our giveaway. Let's see who won. And the winner is Bill from Florida. Bill from Florida. You have won, good sir. I will send you an email probably tomorrow sometime, and we'll get you hooked up with $50 DM Lair store credit so you can go buy some cool stuff down in Florida, man. I like Florida. I've been in Florida a few different times. It's pretty cool. Yeah. There's also, they make videos about Florida men sometimes that are entertaining as well. You probably know about that. I'm probably offending you right now. I should probably stop talking. I am an offensive bad person. I'm a very bad person. All right. Anyway, that's all I have for you fine folks today. We will see you next week. Now, next week, I have a special guest on. I have Harmony Ginger on. You may know her from Twitter, X. She's going to be on next week, and we're going to be talking about Brownstein campaigns, something called a Godstein campaigns, and one-to-one timekeeping. These are new and different ways to run your games. It's kind of an old school way of running your games, and I was talking to her about these over on X and stuff, and it sounds super interesting. So I'm excited to talk about these things and just kind of get some new ideas out there. Well, old ideas that are maybe new. That folks might be able to use in their games and then get a lot of benefit from. So next week, we're going to be doing that. So tune in, and thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys all around. All right, I'm going to try to push the button, and we're going to leave. Whee!